Pay for it. You can't be waiting for the woman to maintain herself and then you pick her up to boost your ego. It does not work that way. Broke men complain about women being materialistic, women being high maintenance because they are refusing to spend the money, but they are more than happy reaping the benefit.
If a man ever tells you that you're high maintenance or that he doesn't like high maintenance women, be grateful. He is telling on himself. He is literally exposing himself in that he's just letting you know that he does not believe he deserves a beautiful, well taken care of woman. Himself as worthy of
realistic, women being high maintenance because they are refusing to spend the money, but they are more than happy reaping the benefit.
If a man ever tells you that you're high maintenance or that he doesn't like high maintenance women, be grateful. He is telling on himself. He is literally exposing himself in that he's just letting you know that he does not believe he deserves a beautiful, well taken care of woman. He does not see himself as worthy of being with someone like you. He will never treat you or take care of you at the high standard that you set for yourself. And what's important to note is that this guy who doesn't like high maintenance women isn't really a man. High value masculine men see a beautiful woman as a status symbol and a direct reflection on him. I was so traumatized in my past by these bummy dudes that whined about high maintenance women that it actually took me a while to ask my husband to take over my girl maintenance bills. But he was happy to do it because his wife, being gorgeous and highly maintained, says a lot about him. Real men love taking the credit for you being high maintenance. A guy who makes you feel bad about being high maintenance will never allow you to shine.
This is being said by I guess, assumedly female who is low maintenance. Her hair is straight. Okay? Now, I don't know, maybe because she has makeup on, whatever, but high maintenance, what does high maintenance actually mean? Let's look it up. High maintenance. High maintenance. Needing a lot of work to keep in good condition. Needing a lot of work to keep in good condition. So, high maintenance, requiring a high degree of maintenance to ensure proper functioning and without which is likely to break down. Requiring a lot of attention or reassurance, emotionally needy. The antonyms are low maintenance. What is low maintenance? Okay, low maintenance, retaining proper functionality over long periods of time with little or no maintenance. A person who is self-sufficient and not requiring much attention. Okay? So, resilient, robust. So, therefore, when you're looking at something like nappy hair, is that high maintenance or low maintenance? Is nappy hair high maintenance? Yes. Yes. Nappy hair, particularly type 4 hair, is generally considered high maintenance due to its texture and tendency to be dry. This requires a specific routine to maintain health and manageability, including regular washing, conditioning, moisturizing, and styling. Nappy hair is often used to describe hair that is worn in its natural, unrelaxed state, typically referring to afro or type 4 hair. Okay, it requires more attention than straight hair due to its natural dryness, tendency to frizz, and vulnerability to breakage. Regular washing, at least once a week, and conditioning are crucial to maintain scalp health and hair moisture. Deep conditioning and treatments to provide moisture and nourishment. Nappy hair may require specific styling techniques and products to manage the frizz, define the curls, and achieve a desired style. individual variations. The specific maintenance needs can vary depending on individual hair characteristics, such as the curl pattern, density, and length, as well as lifestyle factors. Okay. All right. Now, what about straight hair? Is straight hair high maintenance? No. Straight hair is generally considered low maintenance compared to curly hair. While straight hair can be prone to oiliness and frizz, it's relatively easy to manage and style. Here's why straight hair is often considered less high maintenance. Straight hair can be styled with minimal effort, often using just a blow dryer and a few styling products, or just waking up and it being done. Straight hair tends to be easier to brush and detangle, reducing the risk of breakage. Straight hair can be easily styled for different occasions, from casual wear to formal events. Here are some tips. Dry shampoo, lightweight products, wash frequently, manage the frizz. Okay? Is straight hair hard to maintain? Many women with this hair type find it easy to grow out. Has a lot of natural shine. The problem is that straight hair becomes greasy very quickly. So you may need to wash it more and use products like dry shampoo on the days in between. All right. So high maintenance being discussed and talked about by somebody who is very low maintenance, and this topic is being covered by somebody who is high maintenance. Okay? The problem with that, it's obvious. With this hair, when you have nappy hair, like I do, when you have nappy hair, that is called high maintenance. And rather than doing something to lessen, shall we say, I'm going to call it what it is, lessen the burden of maintaining it, because it's costly. It takes more products, takes more patience. When I see straight-haired, beautiful-looking women saying stuff about high maintenance, this and all this, and enjoying all these pampering, this nonsense, whereas the math ain't mathing. The math isn't mathing. Math isn't mathing. Furthermore, if you're pretty, if you're naturally pretty, or you have a body, curvy body, or soft skin and things of that nature, which basically reflect that your hormones are working, basically. Your estrogen is being released to you naturally because you're being aroused and stimulated by a stimuli that is acquiescing to your call or your desire. So if you see a woman that is allegedly unattractive or allegedly developed, whatever, incongruent to what femininity is, let that be evidence of the truth. The woman is either, if she has curves or if she has those feminine features, that means more than likely, it doesn't always mean so, but usually it means that her call is being answered. If she's aroused by something, she's being supplemented. If she feels safe around certain people, or if she feels safe in her lifestyle, it's going to show in her appearance. Okay, versus if you're stressed out and you're not receiving the sperm of which is arousing you. So if you're aroused by something and you're not receiving the sperm of what is arousing you, you're going to get defects. That's what shows up, whether it be in your male children or female children or both. These defects are going to show up. So then when you see these defects, all that means is that you were the recipient of sperm of which does not arouse you naturally. Continue on.
So believe him.
Here's some examples of what high maintenance looks like, and it looks different on everybody. This is just my take on it. Now, high maintenance woman is typically referred to somebody who invests significant time in their appearance, their life.
That is not what high maintenance means. We just went over what high maintenance means. It's not something about, oh, well, that's what I want, so therefore that's what I get. It's something in relativity to, this is the state that you're in, so therefore this is the treatment or regiment that you need. It has nothing to do with, those are my standards. No, it is congruent to how you are in that state. So therefore, if you're an egg, or say that you got a carton of eggs, those are high maintenance because the shell is thin. So you need to be gentle with how you handle them, right? You're not going to be doing Michael Jackson moonwalks while cooking, basically trying to make a cake or something. You're going to be gentle with them. You're going to be precautious with them. Versus if you're cooking with, I don't know, say like a cucumber or a carrot, because those are more so low maintenance. They're more sturdy, more resilient. So if you drop it on the floor, it's not going to go splattering all over the floor. Versus with the egg, if it drops on the floor, more than likely, depending on how close or far you are from the floor, it's more than likely going to splatter all over the place. That's high maintenance versus low maintenance. Low maintenance means that you require little to no attention. You're basically like a cat. A cat is independent, unless you're a lion, of course, which is more so relative to like a dog. You see wolf packs, they hang out in packs. Well, the cats, for the most part, they hang out on their own. They don't have to be let out to go pee every so odd many minutes. They can do it themselves in their litter box. You see?
Style. They put a lot of effort into how they look. And you see, some men are attracted to this because they see it as a sign of self-care, confidence, and sophistication. Now, high maintenance isn't about having luxury material possessions, okay? Sometimes people confuse it. People expect
Actually, it really truly is. If you're high maintenance, it requires you to have more so abundant sorts of materials and methodology to whatever it is. So therefore, like I was talking about having the nappy hair, you're going to require more resources and chemicals or, creams, oils, sprays, and so on and so forth. Versus when you have straight hair, you don't need all those hair products. That's just you being excessive. And it really does piss me the fuck off, because while they're hammering about these men, right, talking about, well, he doesn't want to invest in all this. Look, based upon the state that you're in, that is what is the determining factor of whether or not you are high maintenance. You are not high maintenance, though. You're not the one that's having these ailments or bad side effects or defects and all this. And then furthermore, when you're tampering with people's appearances in order to exploit them further, there just goes more. So when you're talking about, well, she's crazy, she's aggressive, and all that means she doesn't feel safe. Her hormones, her estrogen is not being released because her body, her intuition, her actual design is speaking for her, saying, I don't trust what you have available. What you have available, or what is in proximity to you, has not allowed you to get my approval in order for you to reproduce on the basis of getting people to be aroused by you. In order for the men to be aroused by you, the hormone estrogen needs to be released in order to shape and mold you into this feminine, beautiful damsel in distress. But because you've been in an environment where you've not been privileged to rest in your femininity, you've not been privileged to have your estrogen released on your behalf because of the environment and the conditions of the state of which you're in.
High maintenance woman to constantly want to be on lavish trips, or you always have to buy me Louis bags. That's
trips and Louis bags. Why she even mentions this is irrelevant, but go ahead.
Not what I'm talking about here. I'm referring to a woman who understands the value of her time and will not compromise her boundaries and her standards for a man. Meaning, I get my nails done all the time. My acrylic girlies know this. Nobody wants to see what's under those nails. No guy wants to see that. So I'm not going to compromise my nail time. Whoever it is that I'm dating can wait to ensure that I'm fully maintained until I go out and step out to dinner with you. Look,
that's crazy as hell. What about your personality? What about your mental health? What about your actual health? Okay, being skinny or, having, I guess, I don't know, no belly fat or things like that. Sure, that's surface level. That's called being superficial. Your nails being maintained and you basically putting on fake nails is not a regimen of high maintenance. And don't get me wrong, I like acrylic nails. I like having fake nails. I think I have no other choice but to do that because of the health deprivation and detriment that has occurred on behalf of this trauma. But on the other hand, when we're talking about maintenance, we're talking about your actual body. Obviously, if you, have these womanly features, then it's not a matter of you needing maintenance. That means that you feel your body chemically, the chemistry of it has spoken more than you have. How you appear says a lot. It says that you're out of your fucking mind and you're absolutely selfish and you're just really honestly out of touch. Because if you don't notice these other fucking women and girls and children out here that are not appearing in the way, they're not healthy, they're not okay. They're having to budget between these different dynamics. Yeah, they do turn to drugs. They do turn to alcohol. They turn to cigarettes and all of that because of the state of their environment and the conditions of which they've been forced to live in. It's not about, you're not going to compromise your boundaries or your standards. Well, sometimes you don't have much of a say now, do you?
Different individuals have different lifestyles and preferences. One considers
the fact that she would even say that as if it's opening the door to this nonsense belief that, different people can have different living standards. So we're going to, deprive people of their shelter, deprive people of their health, healthy foods and things of that. Their diet is poor, all sorts of things. Not because they don't want to enjoy what they need in order to have a healthy appearance and maintain their life, but because this commercialized system of which has basically cheapened by putting a price on what is required in order to be maintained properly is what cheapened life itself. When you guys put a price on what was never yours to be putting a price upon, because in order for you to say that it is yours, then you're going to have to admit a lot of things. You're going to have to admit to the fact that your, your conversions, how many conversions did it take before you became a human being? You're only 10% or not 10%, but 10 degrees or percent, whatever, 10 degrees of a difference species than a cat. You're 20% of a difference in a species of a dog. You're 2% or 2 degrees, say 2 degrees of a difference between a chimpanzee or a bonobo. So that's 2 degrees. 2 degrees of separation from a fucking chimpanzee. And then you're going to have the nerve to say, certain people have certain lifestyles. No. You need to go based upon the state that you're in, the conditions that you're in. And when you are okay with being absolutely fucking selfish, all the while brandishing an appearance that supports a fact that sexual assault has occurred, trauma has occurred, in order for you to look that way, and then in order for somebody else to look this way, but yet this somebody else is having children. Why? How? If she doesn't look like a feminine woman, but yet she's producing children, does that not prove that she's being exploited? Is her hormones, her estrogen, not making a statement for her louder than her? And then you, having these womanly feminine features, you feel safe. Your body chemistry says that you feel safe around predators. Let's continue on.
high maintenance. Another sees it as normal level of self-care. It's essential to respect and appreciate these differences because everybody lives their life differently and how that looks like varies, and some people find it attractive and other won't. Look, just be yourself. Whatever that looks like, be yourself. If you like to get your nails done,
be yourself. Well, I want to know, what is it? What attracts you? Is it the money, the resources, which is understandable, or is it the actual man? Because if that is what it is, whatever you're naturally attracted to, I'm here to tell you, when you say be yourself, which is so strange that you would say that, what is yourself? Who are you? What are you? Because the origin story and the chain of events that have led up to human beings so far, a fact is we are coming from sexual abuse. And unfortunately, while the women would love to just wipe their hands clean and point at the male, unfortunately, nature tells us a completely different story. Look no further than the lion. Look at the lion and then look at human. Look at what you guys are doing. Do you mimic the lion? Are you the lioness getting the food? Are you? Are you the lion king that mauls all those boy children so that you don't have to share the pussy with nobody else? You have to be able to confront this history of our existence.
amazing. If you like to get your hair done, amazing. Just because you don't do those things doesn't necessarily mean that a man won't find you attractive. At the end of the day, it's your character and your heart that they really look at. But I will say that men love women that are high maintenance.
The men, what did this bitch just say? Hold on. Revert back.
So I'm not going to compromise my nail time. Whoever it is that I'm dating can wait to ensure that I'm fully maintained until I go out and step out to dinner with you.
Dating. What does that mean? Dating has something to do with time, has something to do with a season, has something to do with an era, has something to do with an age. It has nothing to do with actual, what you guys are saying is incongruent to the truth. Dating. What is dating? That is nothing. That doesn't mean anything. You mean courting, which is also another fucking fictitious lie. Either you're compatible or you are not. And if you are basing your compatibility upon this luxurious lifestyle, which, don't get me wrong, I'd be stupid and the biggest liar around if I was like, well, if you had to choose, either you have to live like a stressed out all the fucking time, traumatized, or you can live a life whereas you can rest in your femininity and enjoy life. Okay, that's fine. I understand. Who would not want the better life, the easier life? But I'm saying on the basis of nature and the progression and procession of the human being, you went through a trial of rape. That is the truth of the story. So who did the rape? The woman did the rape. How do we know? Because look at the lion. Who's the one doing the man routine? You want the men in the human form to be the lioness. Okay? And then you see the lion with his big ass afro. His big ass afro, meaning that he's high maintenance. You see him with his big ass afro? She's low maintenance. So that, I guess she's being realistic with her design. So who did the choosing in that dynamic? She did, for him. So he's the one who he was the one that basically was sexually assaulted, if you will, on the behalf of some appearance. And it changed something within him and her. Look at the tiger. The tiger is striped. Okay, he's a lone wolf. Even though he's a feline, he's the father to all these cats. The tiger is. But then the father to the tiger is the dog. So the dog Ends up, something happens, somebody fucked the dog, and then the dog turns into a bunch of cats. So what the hell who fucked this in order to make this? What happened here? What happened that turned this into a tiger? What happened that turned the tiger into they split? Something split. So the tiger is the father to all of these lions and all these ones here and all those ones. He's the father to all of them, but he's a lone wolf, meaning he's independent. Is he low maintenance? I don't know. Yeah, that's up to you to decide. He's probably more so low maintenance than the lion is, than Mr. Lion. Mr. Lion has a big ass fro and he has a fragile ego. Hence why he's okay with slaughtering those children if they have a penis. He slaughters them because he's envious. He doesn't want to share his pussy with any of his sons when they get older. So he slaughters all of them. And the only way to avoid that from happening is if Mrs. Lion, or if the lady lion, fucks all the dudes on the pride. So that way she's able to ensure that all the dudes assume that that is their sons. That's why. But where do they get that behavior from? The lioness gets that behavior from primates. That's who does that. The primates do that. So the they're the ones who do that. They fuck all the dudes. That is, unless you're a baboon, because he's a pedophile, by the way. The baboon, Mr. Baboon, Rafiki, who holds up Simba, he's a pedophile. So that's where that behavior comes from. If she's going to save the male cubs, she's going to fuck all the Mr. Lions. All the ones with the penis, she's going to fuck all of them to ensure that her children, the males, can survive. But if he basically kills all of those children, what do you think he used to be? Or what's really going on there? If he is prideful, whatever, or he doesn't want to share the pussy with anybody else, so he kills and slaughters all the males that are coming from somebody else, what does that really mean? What is all that about? What about the wolves? What about dogs? I don't know about the dogs. You tell me about the dogs. What is their mating all about? Dogs are hoes. Let's just say it, so are cats. But dogs are hoes. They will hump on any damn buddy and any damn thing. People want to talk, he's exerting his dominance. What dominance? He's not exerting no damn dominance. He's horny. That's what that is. He's not exerting no damn dominance, because if anybody's exerting dominance, it's the cat in comparison to the dog. That's why he whimpers. He don't want to walk past the kitty cat he's like 5-6 times her size, but then the kitty cat scares the shit out of him most of the time. Some dogs are not scared of the little kitty cat, but most of them, predominantly most of them, are afraid and intimidated of her or him, whatever.
Look, different individuals have different lifestyles and preferences. One considers high maintenance, another sees it as normal level of self-care. It's essential to respect and appreciate these differences because everybody lives their life differently.
Self-care is close to the what do we call that? Help me, what is it? It's close to the custom of high maintenance, but that's not the same. High maintenance is on the basis of the state that you're in. It's on the basis of the contents of you. Look like how I talked about the carrot and then the egg. An egg is fragile. If you drop it, it's going to break, depending on how far it is from a surface. And depending on what type of surface it's close by. For instance, if you have a nice, fluffy fucking carpet, and it's made out of all this cotton and some whatever, you name it, whatever the fabric is, and it's big and fluffy, there's a possibility that it might not break. If you drop it on the bed, it might not break. If you drop an egg on the bed, dropping, not throwing, but dropping, And even if you threw it, there's a likelihood that yes, that egg might not break. That's called high maintenance. Because if it's fragile, depending on the surface and depending on how you handle it, determines on if it's going to break apart or if it will stay whole as it is. But versus a carrot, right? Now you have a carrot. If you throw it on the bed, of course it's not going to splatter. If you throw it on the floor, there's a likelihood that it still may not splatter. But if you put it through, I don't know, like a wood chipper, it's probably going to, it's going to get torn apart. You see? That's the difference. Self-care versus high maintenance. Okay? Both parties have to do self-care. It doesn't matter what type of state that woman or person or thing is in. They still need self-care in order to continue to exist. But self-care versus high maintenance are two different clubs. They're two different concepts. You all have to do self-care. Not all of you are fucking high maintenance. You know that you're high maintenance contingent on the state and condition that you're in. Your ass is not fucking high maintenance. You have easy fucking hair. You wake up and it's done. It's nonsense.
And how that looks like varies, and some people find it attractive and other won't. Look, just be yourself. Whatever that looks like, be yourself.
If a guy is attracted by a low maintenance woman who has in her natural state, meaning that she's very masculine, that more than likely means that he's gay. I'm going to keep it all the way 100 with you. You're trying and sugarcoat the shit. Don't sugarcoat it. So if she's got nappy ass hair and it's not being well kept, she's got bags underneath her eye, okay, because she's overworked, working double time. She's got a rough ass fucking feet because she's been walking like Flintstone. She ain't got no Mercedes. That's called she's high maintenance. That's high maintenance. And if a dude likes her in that natural form, he is gay. Yes, he is.
If you like to get your nails done, amazing. If you like to get your hair done, amazing. Just because you don't do those things doesn't necessarily mean that a man won't find you attractive. At the end of the day, it's your character and your heart that they really look at. But I will say that
that's a goddamn lie. Men do not look at your fucking heart, and they hardly look at your character. They're going based upon the physical response that you summon from them. They're visual creatures. So I don't know why you're going to sit here lying. And if he is summoned by another masculine looking entity, that means that he's fucking gay. And more than likely he's got a female energy or something trapped up inside of him. Okay?
Men love women that are high maintenance.
At the end of the day, everything boils down to sex for men. They want.
If men love women that are high maintenance, he don't love you, is what you're saying. Based upon the truth of the definition of those words. If men love women that are high maintenance, that means that he loves a woman that needs special type of care and needs more care than what the fuck you're talking about. You are low maintenance. You're not high maintenance. You're already doing fine on your own, just like the kitty cat. You're not the dog who needs to be let outside to go pee every 15 minutes.
Women to appear in a way that they will find them attractive to want to sex them. Do not live your life for any man. Whatever you're doing, do it for yourself. If you're
yourself is your man. Okay? Stop this nonsense, because if you want to be independent in totality, what you're saying is you're asexual. Okay? You're going to be doing what is it called again? I forget what it's called. You can basically, is it parthenogenesis? You're asexual and you can do parthenogenesis, meaning that you are a self-impregnating, a self-producing organism. Okay, so you can basically fuck yourself in one way or to some dynamic. You don't need a penis or sperm in order to activate a baby inside of you to bring it into reality. That is what you're saying. So therefore, don't live for any man. That is the whole point of your fucking existence, is to live for a man. Because otherwise, why are you here on Earth? Earth is an organism. It's a workhouse, really, if you will. It's a living vessel. Whereas we all are codependent. All of us are codependent. All of us depend on a different source in food supply in order to exist. So therefore, when you're like, oh, well, I want to be a professional taker, but I don't want to give anything, but the things of which I want to give are stolen from somebody else who it belongs to. Because in all truth and honesty, if you were what you needed to be, you wouldn't need to be paid to do what is required of you to do. In order for human beings to exist, we still need shelter. You still need some form level of hydration. You're still going to need a food supply, sustenance. You need all of these things. And then contingent upon the climate and the weather, there's a whole nother fucking regiment as to what you're going to need in order to survive that climate and weather condition. These environmental factors, we are codependent. We are resource dependent beings. But yet here it is, those of you who are being ruled or who are ruled by that of which is incongruent to your state of being. Meaning that if you're ruled by the moon, right? So that means that you're a Cancer. You are somebody who's coming from a place of water. You're coming from a place of emotion. You're coming from a place, likely your hair pattern, if we're going based upon the reality of what it means, the moon itself. What does the moon represent? Water. Moon represents water. I don't care what you say. Moon represents water. It represents cold. It represents nighttime. Right. It represents nighttime coolness. Okay. That's what it represents. And emotions. Okay. So crying, feeling very, I don't know, what's the word? Intimate, cuddling. You want things like that. You're an emotionally driven creature when you are ruled by the moon. However, your physical appearance in the element and aspect of the moon, as well as, those things of what I just said, the nighttime. What type of vessel do you have if you're ruled by what brings you the nighttime, water, coolness, and things like that? What does that bring? It brings glow. You're going to be pale, more than likely pale. Yes, I said pale, P-A-L-E, meaning that you're deprived of the sun because you're the moon. You're ruled by the moon. You are ruled by the nighttime. There's nothing wrong with the nighttime. Or there's many things wrong with the nighttime, just like there's many things wrong with the day. But what I'm saying is the character of you. You're not ruled by the sun. You're ruled by the moon. So therefore, you might want the sun to come and take up all this watery mess from you, right? Because you're not going to be somebody who's got a big ass afro if you're ruled by, and if you do, well, what's this? What is this? That means something happened. What happened? Somebody trying to rule over somebody else. That's what happened. Somebody trying to rule over somebody else who did not need to be ruled over, especially by you. Do you see where I'm going with this? They did not need to be ruled over by you. Why? Because they already learned from those previous steps. That's called the procession and the progression of our development on behalf of this rape. It's rape. You're all here on behalf of rape. Let me say that again. You are all here, all of us. We're all here on behalf of rape, sexual abuse, sexual assault, oppression against your reproductive organs. That is the story of our existence. For the bitches in the back who don't understand and who are talking about they're in a marriage, okay? You say that you're in a marriage, or you say legal this and I'm calling the cops. So you're calling my sons like they're lapdogs, okay? But you couldn't listen to your father, and your father clearly incongruent to what you've got going on here on earth. You can't talk to somebody who doesn't have a voice, okay? They cannot start a conversation with you if they don't even have a voice, because they're dead. The ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. Pluto is a dog in the Disney character. He's a yellow dog, okay? So who is ruling over Scorpio or Pluto? It's called Eve. You say that it's Eve? Well, again, if Pluto is the god of death, who has power over death? Wife. But yet you say Eve. You say Eve. Why do you say Eve? Eve is the number 6. 666 is the name of a man. A name of a man. Who is that man? The man is Virgo, because he's cursed. He's cursed. So therefore, there you have it. He has to lower himself then, if he's from out there. Okay, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, if he's from out there, up above you in those celestial bodies, okay, and he's far, far away from the sun, and it's cold. You better believe it. It's fucking cold. It ain't no warm on no Pluto. Warm means that life is going on. There's a lot of activity if it's hot. If you've got some heat going on, that means there's a lot of activity going on. If it's cold, you're pretty much dormant. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are dead, but you can basically be dead. Compare that to a snake, okay? Or a vampire. All that. So therefore, yeah, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Snow White had what? An apple? She ate a poisoned apple? And the prince needed to kiss her ass in order to break a spell. She sang into a well and she got a bunch of echoes back. The animals can talk to Snow White, or no, that's incorrect. Snow White can talk to the animals. The animals do not talk to Snow White. Who talks to one of the princesses? Cinderella. Cinderella does. She can talk to the animals, and the animals can talk to her. Interesting. What does that mean? Who is she really fond of? Bruno. She's fond of Bruno and the mice. The mice. And from the rib of man, well, the mice have 26 letters. The snakes can have 800 some odd up to 800 different ribs, right? But they're voiceless. They don't talk. They make a sound. That's the sound they make. They're poisonous, yep. And when they shed their skin, they're basically living, but they're dead. Yeah, they are. They're living dead. So, with that being said, if Cinderella, burn her, that's what that says, burn her, is Cinderella. Cinderella, and she's sleeping. Oh, that damn clock. Okay. So then therefore, a dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. Fast. What does fast mean? Fast is not slow. Slow is what? Cold. So when you're fast asleep, means it's daytime and it's hot. There's a lot of activity going on. Helium, the sun, okay, which is a star, by the way. Y'all want to talk about it like it's a planet. It's a star, a big ass star. So something died. What died? What must have died in order for the sun to exist? I don't know, maybe something cold. Make up your own fucking mind. How come y'all haven't solved all this and I'm fucking retarded? I'm the textbook definition of mentally retarded, and you mean to tell me that all y'all geniuses, this is how I know that y'all some manipulative exploiters, rapists, and you've been okay with raping and exploiting is what pisses me off. So anyways, back at the ranch, says, I'm going to make you a helper, not a fucking wife, a helper. A helper. Helper. Therefore, if if you do have a husband, what is hus? Hus is if you take an H and you put it at the end after the letter S, it makes the word hush, 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 quiet. So a hush band. So what is the band? The band is metal. You can put it around your band is also music, symphonies, shit like that. But you're putting it on your ring finger and you're married because that has everything to do with Saturn. Saturn is the ruler over Aquarius. Okay? What is Aquarius? It's allegedly a man or a woman holding a vase or some type of jar with water in it. They call it a water bearer. So don't they have like a ring bearer? They have a ring bearer? Yeah. And I know when the hotline blings, that can only mean one thing. You can hear? How can you hear? Who do you hear? If he's quiet, hush, band. If you can hear the music, how can you hear? How do you hear? Who has ears? Earth. It's right there. EAR, ear. So then you need earrings. Okay? And then you put metal on your earrings. But in order to get earrings, what do you need? You need metal. Oh, okay. Well, can you put Mercury's earrings into your ears? No, you can't. Why? Because it's liquid. In its natural state, it's liquid. So then if you solidify it, how are you going to get it to be solid? How can you make something that's naturally liquid, even though it's metal? How can you make that into a solid? Something cold, I would assume, to cool it down. Something to cool it down. Okay, then. Yeah. So who are you? Who told you anything about a wife? What the fuck is a wife? A wife would be Omega, a little lowercase w. You can see it right there. Yeah, you can. The 23rd letter of the alphabet is a W, is it not? A W? It's a W. It's a 2 and a 3. 2, 3 is a 5. And a 5 is E. So then your husband would be electricity? The fifth, electricity? So if you have fish, and seafood typically does have mercury in it, right? You can get lead poisoning and shit like that. So then if you zap the water, is it going to maybe it might turn it into some little trinket things like gold and silver and whatever the fuck else you want to make out of it. It's possible, don't you think? Yeah, I think so. What is the water being electrocuted going to do to your hair? It's going to make it fucking probably nappy and stick up and look all crazy. Is that high maintenance? Yeah, it's high maintenance in its unnatural form. So what is natural for Mercury, because liquid metal, is unnatural. Okay, so what is natural for Saturn is unnatural in its natural state. Try to say that again. If Saturn has a bar or a ring rather, it has a ring around it. So does Jupiter, by the way. But if Saturn has a ring around its body, okay, that's Mercury that got cold, okay? It got cold and it was able to become something unnatural in accordance to Mercury standards. In Mercury standards, it's a liquid metal in its natural state. Is that high maintenance or low maintenance? So then if you go over to Saturn, and it's a ring now, because it's solid, is that high maintenance or low maintenance? Low maintenance, is it not? Which one is going to be easier and which one's going to be more difficult to handle? The liquid metal or the metal that's solid? It's very simple. So what is your ass doing in the state that you're in, knowing full good and well you're not the one who gets teased and taunted over these features? So who are you actually listening to? You're not listening to who the people, you're not listening to who the fuck you should be listening to in accordance to the state that you're in. So who are you lying to if nobody else but yourself? Now, Libra, let's talk about Libra. Libra is showed as scales. What else has scales? There's music scales. The fish have scales. You can get scaly skin. The reptiles have scales as well, don't they? Do they or do they not have scales? They have scales. So Libra is what? Libra is able to teach you something, like librarian girl or Libros, something that you can see. You can see. You can see scales, you can hear scales, you can feel scales, you can do scales. Okay? They all have different meanings, but they all have a meaning for sure. So therefore, Libra comes after Virgo, and then you have Scorpio, which comes after Libra. But if there's a serpent, and allegedly the Lord God made the serpent. He's the craftiest of all the animals of the field, okay? Of the field. And what field would that be? Hertz, H-Z. It's the, what is it? The measure of frequency. Frequency. And it's giving you how many oscillations or cycles it takes for the sound to travel. That's what that is. So if you could hear somebody, how did you hear them? Who did you hear? How are you married?